Hello everyone, today is 26th of January. I wish you a happy Republic Day and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a quote for the today's GS folder. So today we'll take a quote from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. He says, "The Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life and its spirit is always the spirit of age." Now, guys, this particular idea corresponds that a constitution is not just a technical document. Rather, it is the philosophy of a nation. The constitution is the long held ideology, long held philosophies which are translated into a document and into its guiding light. A country has decided to tread forward. So, guys, we can utilize such an idea into the questions related to GS paper number 2 as well as into the essays on democracy, constitutionalism, etc. So, guys, that is all. And now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, taking up the first article, friends, today much of the newspapers had carried the Republic Day wishes and such kind of advertisements. So much of the content has not been there. Now, first of all, the guys, first article we are taking it is from the Indian Express and it is talking about the recent judgment given by the Kerala High Court onto the matters of the Arogya Setu. Guys, this particular article will be usable into the GS paper number 2 under the topic of challenges to the fundamental rights. Now, before going into this news article, first of all, let's see some of the basic background. See, from the very start, government rolled out its Arogya Setu app, calling it as a contact tracing app, and it will be helping us into breaking down the chain of the transmission. Now, Arogya Setu app is not a different thing that has been done by India only, rather among all the countries, such kind of contact tracing apps have been rolled. And from the very first day, these apps have been under a criticism that extensive private informations of the citizens are being taken up, and there are regards that where this information will be used and whether it will be infringement over the right to privacy. Now, guys, when we talk about the Arogya Setu, now whenever a person is downloading this particular app, he is entering into an Arogya Setu data access and knowledge sharing protocol 2020. Now, under this particular thing, various privacy policies and etc., all these things have been written. And guys, citing this knowledge sharing protocol 2020, government claims that they can share the data collected by the Arogya Setu app with the third parties such as various research institutions, state governments, public health institutions, etc. Now, guys, this particular thing has been challenged. The petitions have been filed into the courts. It has been said that at no point the citizens gave their explicit consent that the information which is being shared, it can be shared with the third party. So onto this particular front, the Karnataka High Court has said that the government of India as well as the National Informatics Center NIC, they cannot share such data with any kind of institution or the third party, because under the Arogya Setu data access and knowledge sharing protocol, explicit consent was not asked. And guys, it will be the infringement of the article number 21, under which the right to privacy has been given. The spirit of Article number 21 conveys that the sharing of health data of a citizen without his or her consent will necessarily infringe his her right to privacy under Article number 21 of the Constitution. And guys, into this particular thing, now the Arogya Setu's app data will be very much restrictedly be it can be utilized. So that is all into this particular direction, guys. I hope you have understood it. Please utilize in GS paper number 2 questions related to the challenges onto the fundamental rights of the citizen. So that is all, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it talks about the recent order passed by the Bihar police. Now, this particular article, guys, you can utilize in the answers related to the GS paper number 2 under the topics of challenges to the right on freedom of speech and expression. Now, guys, recently the Bihar police's cyber crime wing has issued a circular, and into this circular, it has been said that if any offensive post will be made onto the social media which is trying to target the government, ministers, officials, then that particular thing will be assumed to be against the law and stringent penalties and the proceedings will be taken up. Now, guys, there is one particular problem that this particular circular has not highlighted, that it will be a violation of which particular law or which particular section under IPC, under IT Act. Nothing has been mentioned. So basically, it has been said that it is a very vague kind of order which has been passed. Now, it is being assumed that into the absence of clear direction, the police might be resorting to the section number 66A of the IT Act. Because, guys, this was the only section into the IT Act which gave the expansive power to the authorities. Section 66A provided for the punishment for sending offensive messages through the communication services. And guys, the other provisions of the IT Act, they were dealing with the things such as sending obscene or prurient messages, hacking, stealing computer resources, identity theft, personation, violation of privacy. So therefore, Section 66A might be the driving law here. But guys, there is one particular challenge, that is the Supreme Court has already struck the section number 66A from the statute book, and it has been recognized as something unconstitutional. So if the police is resorting to it, then it is ultra virus to the Supreme Court's directions. Then guys, the other justification it comes is that the police might be using the defamation charges. But guys, there also the direction is very much clear. It has been provided that police cannot register any FIR for the defamation. If any FIR is to be made, then it has to be made before the magistrate, and even the investigation will not be made by the police. So guys, here also the police's circular has been very much misleading. Guys, it has been provided that the narrative of the government officials as well as the police is this, that government is doing so much for the citizens, but that particular thing is not reaching to the people, because onto the social media there are vicious campaigns which are going on, which is maligning the government. And into this particular direction, such law might be coming. But guys, but here a very basic framework is being forgotten. Guys, the French philosopher Voltaire said that I might not agree with what you say, but I will uphold your right to say so until my last breath. And this particular thing has been the defining quote which tells that what a democracy is expected to do. And here government going against the criticism is something which is misplaced. So guys, this is all, and we can utilize such incident as a case study, that how government's intolerance towards the criticism is eroding the basic values onto which the democracy is based. So guys, that is all about this article, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and it is talking about the gender priority into the budget. Guys, such article you can utilize in your GS paper number 3 under the topics of the government budgeting. Now, if we talk about 2020, then guys, it has been a symbolic year because it marks 25-year anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action for the Women. Then it also marks a 5-year anniversary of the Sustainable Development Goals, which were taken up in 2015. And guys, we are also entering into a new decade, and this particular decade will be marked by many of the promises and challenges that have to be taken up. Now, into this particular background, a twin mandate has emerged across the governments into the world. That is, first of all, government needs to protect the past gains that have been made onto the gender, as well as government has to make the more equal future, particularly for the women. And guys, into this particular direction, the budget can play an important role around the world and even into the India. So therefore, it has been said that budget needs to have the strong gender content. Now, when we are talking about having the strong gender content, it not means that a separate budget is needed to be there for the women, or all specific allocations needed to be there to the women. Rather, the gender budget means a gender equity needs to be there, which is to be put into the perspective. Now, guys, it has been provided by the United Nations Women that 72% of domestic workers around the world, they have lost their job, and many of them have been the women. So basically, the pandemic had proved not to be gender neutral. Rather, the women have been much more sufferers into the pandemic, and into the budget such dimensions needed to be specifically be taken up, and the government needs to provide the specific expenditures. For example, the governments need to spend onto the upskilling as well as reskilling of the women, because guys, as women were traditionally involved into the pink collar jobs, and these pink collar jobs have been severely impacted, so they need to be given such kind of skills which will be fruitful into the 21st century, so that they can enter into the alternate markets. Then it has been said that more money is to be put into the hands of the women, so that women can raise the aggregate demand. And into this particular direction, the schemes such as the MG Narega needs to be further realigned with the women. Then, guys, it has been said that the women are also needed to be put into the decision making processes, because the world which is coming, it might be unequal. So therefore, women needs to have their representatives into the parliament, so that more women inclusive policies can be designed. And then, guys, further it has been said that the women owned enterprises, they are needed to be focused into the budget. Specific expenditure is needed to be made, so that the MSMEs which are being driven by the women, they don't face the wrath of the pandemic. Guys, even the financial institutions, they have been very much skeptic when the money is to be given to the women owned enterprises. So therefore, such kind of things needed to be resolved. After that, guys, it has also been provided that the women owned businesses, they are needed to be promoted for the public procurement processes. It means that when government is procuring, they need to focus more onto the women led ventures. Guys, into this particular direction, some affirmative action or some reservation or some special preferences can be given, and we can take the inspiration from the South Africa, where that government had made the rules that government contractors, subcontract, they need to procure from the marginalized groups. And there the priority has been given that the business which employ 50% women, then the priority has been given to them for the procurement. So, guys, such kind of things can also be taken up into the India. So, guys, that is all, and we can utilize such kind of things into the social justice GS paper number 2 also. So, guys, that is all, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article, it is talking about the split that has come into the Nepal's politics. Now, guys, we have taken up earlier that the Prime Minister of the Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, he dissolved the parliament and called for the fresh elections. He said that the present government is not representing the electorate. Now, guys, this particular thing has been challenged by the ruling party itself. It has been said that the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli did not had any such powers under the new constitution that he can dissolve the parliament and can call for the new elections. Now, guys, the election commission of the Nepal as well as the judiciary is also looking into the justification of such move which has been made by the Prime Minister. Now, guys, into this particular aftermath, the ruling party of the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, he had expelled the KP Sharma Oli from the party because the Prime Minister was not able to give a justification as why he had dissolved the parliament. Now, guys, when we talk about the Nepal, then the democracy in Nepal has been on a kind of a torturous path, and many of such kind of uncertainties already were there. For example, when we are talking about the ruling party, that is the Communist Party of Nepal, there even earlier also there were two factions were operating. One was led by the PM KP Sharma Oli, and other was led by Pushp Dahal Prachand. And, guys, now this particular rift has been very much clear after the expulsion of the KP Sharma Oli from the ruling party. Now, guys, after that, it has been said that what could be the prospects into the times to come, the history as how the coalition was formed. Now, such kind of things has not been very much important for your exam, because you don't need to go into the internal politics. For that particular matter, no need to sweat too much onto this particular issue. However, guys, as the times will be coming, we need to see that how this particular matter will be settled into the end. But when we are talking about India, guys, India needs to follow its Panchsheel policy right now and need not to interfere unnecessarily into the internal politics, and it should stand with its five principle of peaceful coexistence. But at the same time, guys, India also needs to take care that such kind of a political fragility is not being abused or misused by the neighbors which are critical to the India's concerns. For example, the China and Pakistan, they should not unduly politicize this particular matter. So, guys, that is all about this particular article, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about some of the developments that had taken up into the World Economic Forum virtual summit that is being held from the Davos, Switzerland. Now, guys, into the World Economic Forum summit, the Xi Jinping, he had said that right now the world is moving towards a new Cold War. Now, this particular was an indication towards the aggressionist policy which was being driven by the USA under the former president Donald Trump, where the Trump had specifically targeted the China. And, guys, China here had indicated that any such Cold War right now will reverse the gains that has been made in reversing the pandemic of the COVID COVID-19, and the Chinese leader had said that we need to work together for many of the things. For example, the China had put forward an ambitious climate pledge to slash their carbon emissions by 65% by 2030, and even they had said that they will be achieving the carbon neutrality by the 2060. And here it has been said that the significant partnerships and the cooperations are needed. Now this particular thing is good. Now guys, after this thing, one new development is coming at the Davos. See what has happened since 1971. The Davos summit has happened into the Switzerland, and now the 2021 summit which is going to be held, it will be held into the Singapore. Now this particular thing is indicative of two of the trends. Number one, it basically recognizes that the Singapore has been a stellar performer into the aftermath of the COVID-19, because only 29 deaths have been reported into the Singapore. And then guys, the second indication is this, that now the power is shifting to the Asia. Guys, it has been said that the world's economic center of gravity has been moving towards Asia since 2002, and now the moving of the Davos or the World Economic Forum Summit to Singapore is just a testimony to this particular thing. Moreover, guys, it has also been provided that in Asia specifically, the China is yet resurgent country, because into the aftermath of pandemic where all the economies had suffered, China was the only country which grew at the positive rate of 2.3%, and it had further reduced the difference between the US and Chinese economy. And guys, it has been said that the China will be overpowering the US economy by 2030. The gap has been reduced. Earlier the 2032 was expected. So basically the pandemic has been kind of a beneficial thing for the China, and this particular thing is only guys again raising the eyebrow against the Chinese role into the pandemic also. So these are some of the developments into this regard. So guys, that is all, and now we will be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and here we can see that the government is proposing the green tax to curb the numbers of polluting vehicles into the India. Now, guys, under the present schemes, if you buy any new vehicle, then the registration has to be carried for that vehicle, and this registration certificate is valid for the 15 years. Now, government is saying that after the 15 years, if the people will now decide to renew their registration certificate, then they have to pay the green tax, which is a kind of a penalty for using the old vehicles which are tended to be more polluting. And this particular registration tax or this green tax will be much steeper if you are living into the polluting cities such as Delhi, and it will be even more if the vehicle which is to be renewed, it is a diesel vehicle. Now guys, specific rates you don't need to keep it in your mind, as it is not very much important, and we can basically see that it is a positive step in order to discourage the people in using the old vehicles. Moreover guys, the government is also adopting the scrapping of the vehicles policy. Now guys, the vehicles which are more than 15 years old, they are needed to be scrapped, they are needed to be demolished. Earlier it was said that such a policy will be coming for all the vehicles which are 15-year or old, but guys, now this particular policy has been very much watered down. Only the vehicles which are owned by the government departments and PSUs and are older than 15 years, they have to be scrapped. But guys, this could have made much more sense if such kind of policy would have adopted for all the kind of vehicles, because if we see the pollution, then guys, much of the contribution is from the vehicular emission, and particularly the PM 2.5, it is emitted from the vehicular exhaust. So guys, this is all. However, as new budget will be coming, we will see that whether actually it comes or not. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. It is talking about the inequality that has came in India unto the aftermath of the lockdown of COVID-19. So some of the findings which have been given here already into the yesterday's newspaper analysis, that is on to the 25th January newspaper analysis, we have taken it up as into the Indian Express article. All these things were carried. So guys, you can refer to the yesterday's newspaper analysis. So guys, that is all for the today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you are understanding it and you are finding it useful for your preparations. Thank you so much.